Hi everybody. So I'm so excited tonight to bring to you my very good friend, Tara, and she is going to answer all your questions that you've all been dying for us to get answered for you, but hopefully in a way we can all understand them, right? Okay.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So Tara, you want to tell us a little bit about you? What you love about your job?
I love my job. It took me 15 years to get. I worked my way from down to top. I started at Players Club, where you get your Players Club cards, all the way to casino marketing, did reservations, answered phone calls, booked reservations just for VIP guests, and then went to host services. Did all the host reservations, and then ended up being a manager at Mirage until everything kind of went quiet for COVID, and then came back and I'm a host at New York, and I've been here for almost 3 years now.
All right, and we love you. And so I didn't know all that. I didn't know that you kind of worked your way through the levels, which I think helps you make stands.
Teaches you a lot of looking at programs and numbers and what you're looking for and what everybody else is looking for as far as comps and everything else. It teaches you so much more on what you're trying to figure out of how comps work and how play works to start from the bottom all the way to the top instead of just being handed the position.
Right, yeah. Because I've always been a comp worker. I work my comps, so I've always told y'all that at the end of every stay, I get with my host and I say, and I encourage y'all to do that, even if you don't have a host, you can walk into the host office and say, how was my play? You don't have to have an assigned host to do that, right? Anybody can do it. So one of the big questions we get is, and I know it's different for every brand, but how do you qualify for a host?
So I know usually what they tell you is you've got to be gold or above.
In my work, MGM.
Yeah.
Right.
In my line of work, I have met a lot of great players that are Pearl or Sapphire, but it's only because they can make it out once a year, twice a year. They don't have enough trips to be able to come out to make that status. But when they do come out, their play is phenomenal. They just haven't gotten up to those tier statuses. A lot of the big question is, well, how much do I have to play?
There's not a magic number.
There's not a magic number. It's more hours played on the machine. I don't care if you're going in, if you're gonna play $1,000 on a machine, make it time worthy. Don't bet $1,000 on one hand and just let it go, because you can't comp off of that. More you're gonna get comped is hours played, time spent. We do have a lot of machines that, like video poker. A lot of people love those, but it takes a lot longer to get points off of those than it does on some of the old goldfish machines, where you go to Wheel of Fortune where you wanna get those bonuses, but it still takes longer to get points than going on one of our older machines that are just the old-time goodies that everybody loves to play anyways.
Really?
You need more time spent on the machine or more time spent on a table for us to be able to comp more.
So does the denom or the amount that you're betting play into it a lot?
It does, but
not a lot.
You want more time. So if you're betting $2.50 instead of $5, $10, but you're sitting on that machine for 4 hours rather than an hour and a half, you're going to get more comps that way. We're not always looking at what you're losing, because obviously
sometimes you win.
So what I do is I'll look at play, your hours spent, where you're at, and it's the theoretical number, which is basically a number the casinos come up with, that if you spend this much, this is what you're supposed to be down. Doesn't always work that way.
Right.
You're somewhat up or way down below that, but that's the theoretical number. So if you're...
So they're not looking at how much you won or lost. That's not factored into that. Okay.
It is. So if someone comes in and has a huge loss, I can comp more off of that than their theoretical and hours played. However, if you're winning, but you still have those hours played, I can comp off of that instead of, well, we can't comp anything because you won everything, so you can pay for it.
It didn't work like that.
It doesn't either.
Okay.
Because we always want people to come back. You won money, obviously want you to come back and spend it.
Spend it, right?
So we're going to take care of you too.
Okay, that makes sense. So if I come in and lose, and then I I hear a lot of people say, well, my host wouldn't. You have only certain things you can do. You can't just say, okay, Shannon, I like you. You're my buddy. It doesn't work like that, right?
It doesn't. I mean, I have guests that'll come in that maybe one trip did phenomenal and had more comps than I actually needed to comp. They didn't use their food and beverage. I couldn't comp any extra. And then they come in and say they bring their family, but they're not going to play this through. All right, let me know that ahead of time so I know what I'm doing, so I can still take care of you, so we can match it through the year, or make it look right, so you're not overcomped, you're not losing your free play or your promotions. We can still make this work and we can still even it out, but you got to tell me before you come out and just not play it all.
Because it can actually hurt you if you overcomp, right?
Absolutely.
And that's something I really want our viewers to understand.
Because it does hurt a host if you come in, don't play.
It hurts, right? Yes.
And it does hurt you as a customer too, because if you have a trip or 2 trips, like the saying always is, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or shame on you, shame on me. I've had guests that religiously come in, play, and then I have 2, 3, 4 trips where I see nothing, and I've comped everything. And I'm like, I can't help you anymore. You got to book on your own. And then that's when we tell them to book on the app, and you no longer have a host. Because hosts can do extra, whether it's limos, whether it's extra free play off losses or wins or whatever. Like, whatever we can do, we try and help. Whether it's baskets in your room or alcohol set up in your room, whatever the case we can do, we try and make it special and a unique situation. However, if you're not playing and you continually try, and those promotions usually stay about 3 months, and then they reevaluate play, but it still doesn't knock them. Where you'll have 800 free play, then you'll have 650 free play, then you'll have, it'll drop. But it doesn't drop drastically. But as a host, you look at it and you're like, well, I comped you just a regular room and you didn't even cover that.
Yeah.
And now you want free play upon this. You want a limo ride. And at that point, it comes to our bosses looking at us. And why did you do this? Why did you comp this? And at the end of the day, we still have our numbers we have to make.
You have to make.
And they have to line up with comps. So if you're overcomping, then all of a sudden they look at you. And you're not profitable to the company anymore.
That's right. Because every limo ride, every food and beverage credit costs money, right? Something. Every drink we drink, all of it
every
costs
amenity
money in there.
Everything.
Yes. Yeah. So I do want people to understand that, because it isn't that you're not trying to be nice. And then it's about building the relationship with your host. And it's not going to be the first time I come in here and book with, even if I give you somebody's name, you may take care of them, but you're still going to have to prove what kind of player you're going to be, right? Because, and I tell you, I don't know what kind of player this is, but I'm going to send this person to you because I don't know, and I don't want that to affect your job, or your bottom line ever too. So it is about building that relationship with your host, getting to know them, and then them getting to know you, and having that honesty. Hey, I'm going to bring my family this time. I'm not going to play as much, so that they know that, and then they can help you out too. So I think that's good. Then it doesn't affect them. I always tell people that even if they don't have a host, to go down at the end and review their play, and they can ask in the host office or at the cashier. I mean, where they check out
desk.
At the rewards desk, what they're available for comp, right? I also tell people not to book on Expedia or Trip whatever, because
we can't take care of the room.
The room, that's right.
Because it's third party and we cannot touch it.
Yeah. So if you book on that, we have a guest here with us in Vegas this time that booked that way, and it was like 2 days before the trip, and we had said it on our lives not to do that, and she did, and I said, well, unfortunately, there's nothing she can do, but get it out there and play, and then she can review your play and see if she can help you with some food.
At least charge everything to the room. And let me see what I can do at the end of the day.
That's right, yeah, but you're not going to get that room comp. So I also tell people, if you're a higher player, I don't know what level, but if you have a host or you have access to a host, call a host and let them book, because they oftentimes can get you more than what the app is showing you. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
We can look at what your basis play is throughout the whole entire year or years, whether you've been gone for 2 years, whether it was COVID, whether it was whatever. We can look back at how you were playing and kind of decipher what we can do from there. And then any additional, obviously, it's based on play and we can see what we can do. I've always, if someone had a terrible trip and we've only given them, 500 in free play and they're down.
We've never had that happen. Never.
Everybody
Never.
was in Vegas.
We always win.
Always.
No.
But if they need extra free play, I'm sitting there and I see how horrible their trip is. All right, okay, here's extra kind of free play. And half the time, people play more than that anyways. They're just happy that someone understands what's going on.
That's right.
And then that's how you get the Bridge Bash tickets, New Year's Eve parties, or concert tickets, or, that we have the concert every year for, it's usually country, but
we like country.
We've got our country concerts that come every year, and it's only for MGM Rewards. You try and search that concert, you're not going to find it.
Okay, I expect to get an invite to that this time.
We're going in the suite.
Okay.
I was at Old Dominion in the suite. It was fun.
Okay, so how do they ask for a host?
Usually they just walk in here.
Okay, but if they want to get a host assigned, so say they build a relationship with you, are you automatically assign their host then? Oh, you are?
So when someone comes in, I'll usually hand them my card. Regardless if they qualify or not, I always give them my card and say, if you have any questions, you're not there yet. But if you have any questions, please let me know because I can give you the information on our program, where you need to be, where you're not technically yet, how I can maneuver that. Or even if they have basic questions. Well, I earned tier credits, but I have the Accelerator. The Accelerator didn't show up. We can kind of maneuver through that and help them through that because they don't have people unless you sit on hold for an hour and a half and you're sitting there waiting. Yeah. So I always give my card out regardless if you are earning a host or not. I'll always give my information out because at the end of the day, I have guests that were little. $100, $200 players, and they're now some of my biggest players.
Yeah.
Because they realized what they had to do, and they were like, that's not hard at all. I just have to play with my card. A lot of people think that the card is...
Don't play with the card, right?
Evil, and that they're tracking your play, and that it's not going to let you win. As soon as they started playing on the card, and then all of a sudden, I get free rooms, right. I get free this. I'm like, yes.
That's what we tell people. It sure softens those losses when you've gotten some free stuff there, right? So that's how Mike and I have always tried to look at it. We may lose a little bit, but look at what we're getting comped. So I think
even that little ride to wherever you need to go, the little limo ride,
right? Yeah.
Back to your hotel after you've been hanging out.
Yeah.
It helps.
It does help. It does help. Although I've never used that, I'm gonna have to figure out how. I get it to the airport. I try not to ask for a lot. You may think I do. I talk to her a lot, but yeah, I try not to
I think we did one limo last trip or the trip before.
You do a limo from the airport every time. Yeah. You take care of me that way for sure. Yeah,
it makes it so much easier when you're at the airport.
It's so much better.
Especially
this time, you should have seen all the luggage. They were like Jenga, like they were putting Jenga.
Just stacking it.
We had 4 of us and I think 8 suitcases, and they got us all in. Because we had a lot for this trip, because I had to bring a bunch of anyway. Yeah, I had bags and gifts and all kinds of things. Okay, so if you have a host on property versus a host you like, say you're at New York, you can book for us anywhere, any property in all of MGM worldwide.
Yep.
Right? Okay, talk to us about that.
I love being able to book cross-property, sister properties, everything else. It gets a little more difficult when you go out of state, like Maryland and everything else, because they have different rules, different ways that they handle comps and everything else. I know a lot of people ask, well, if I'm staying at Bellagio, is it better for me to have a Bellagio host? Yes and no. When I book people, usually I'll try and add one of our other hosts that's on that property. So if you do need an immediate attention or you do need something, you have a name or they have your name. We do that through all properties. I have hosts I've worked with and done reservations for that have now put me as their host because I'm over here. And at the end of the day, like when they do come in, I'll text them and say, hey, I know so-and-so booked you. However, I'm on property if you need anything immediate, or we all work different hours. Yeah. I work 4 to midnight.
Well, for me.
It's a killer.
It's a killer. Because I'm in Texas, so it's like 5 o'clock's when she's getting to work. Well, I'm winding down my day. I'm
Right.
done.
So
I literally will say, Siri, set a reminder. Call Tara at 5 p.m.
When usually, now that I have my work computer.
I'm a morning person too.
And I'm
And
a
you're
horrible
a
morning person.
because you work so late at night.
But I didn't have a computer at home. Now I do.
Okay.
So now it's a little more, like this morning, I woke up at 9:30 this morning.
Okay.
What limos do I need to put in? Who's coming in? What's going on?
Yeah.
So it's a little easier now that I have that computer. But we do have day shift, night shift, graveyard for hosts. And it does make our lives a lot easier when you can connect with someone on that level at a different property.
Right.
But at the same time, I still have my guests that are like, nope, I'm going through Tara. She always answers, regardless if she's sleeping, she answers angrily.
Right.
She's like,
she does it.
But at the end of the day, they know I'm going to take care of it.
Right.
So they don't want to necessarily leave me. But if they need something, they're like, we don't want to bug you when you're sleeping, when you got off at 12 and you were here till 2 with us.
I know.
And now it's 7 o'clock in the morning and I'm trying to ask you for something. So it does help a lot that we work as a team and we are all trying to work our numbers together. So if I have someone at Bellagio, I have a host over there. If I have someone at Aria, I have a host over there. And they'll immediately make sure they take care of people. And it's awesome. Like, that is one thing I do love, just like Beezy.
Yeah. Yeah, she
Maryland,
connected me in Maryland. That's right.
It was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
all I do is send him the info. I got you, girl.
Yeah, he takes care of it. Yeah. Is there a difference between host levels? Like, are there, I know, like beginner hosts, intermediate, like executive?
There are and there isn't. The only thing that I've seen, like, besides I've been here for years, that do obviously have the higher players, the higher numbers, a lot of it has to do with credit. It shows it right on my schedule. Like, who's been here for years that has a higher credit availability. Other than that, like, all of us are just here to help.
Okay.
If you see
Somebody
someone,
asked
you
me
help.
that. Somebody, one of our members asked us about that. So.
You do have certain hosts that, like, they've been here for years, so they won't take a certain denom.
A newer player.
Right. So if I see someone that, okay, they're a $2,500 player, I'll take them.
Yeah.
But someone who may be here for 20 years, we're like, no.
Don't want it because
I've got chairs and everything else. I got way too many people that I'm trying to help. Whereas me being a 2-year, 3-year now, I'll still pull those numbers because I need everything that I can get.
Build those relationships, right. So if you book, I'm at Bellagio this time. If I stay at Bellagio and I come play at New York, is that going to hurt me?
So we can see your play at all properties.
Right.
We can see everything. It doesn't hurt you. They do like you to play at the property you're staying at, but I've never hindered anybody from not playing at other properties. Sometimes you just do better at other properties, you feel more comfortable, or you play over there, you win, and then you come over, you lose.
Yep, had that happen.
Back and forth. So because you're staying with MGM, not really.
And so some brands really look at that.
Right.
Yeah. And so
Ours,
MGM isn't quite like that maybe as much, but other brands, just so y'all know, are, because I've had my host say, if you're in Vegas and you're staying here, don't hop to here and here and here. You need to mostly play here, or they're not going to comp your room
they'll
over there as
do
much
that
next
if you're
time.
requesting more free play. They're like, well, all their plays over there, why don't they ask over there?
Right, okay.
But other than that, like your promos and everything else, we try and leave it straight across the board. Obviously, you get less resort credit if you're staying at like an Aria Bellagio over here because our room comps are cheaper than what they are over there. But apples to oranges in room types.
Yeah,
so.
that's true. That is true. Yeah. Although y'all's remodel is very nice.
I love it.
It is nice. It is. Making it here and keeping it.
It's a little difficult right now.
It's getting harder.
It's getting harder. What I tell people, because there's a lot of people that have been back and forth with getting them MasterCard. I always tell people if you're going to stay at an MGM property, get the MasterCard.
Yeah.
And just charge every room, like even your incidentals, whatever, charge it to the MasterCard. It helps your tier level. Just show your card, play on your card, do everything. We're still working as hosts to make it, like, we don't actually like where it's gone, but we're trying. I have guests that were platinum for years, and now we're struggling to try and make it again. And we get it. It's the program started to step up after COVID. Everything shot up, and they're still working on it, but it's not impossible. And the more you have, as far as, like I said, MasterCard, everything else, the more you have and the more you show your card. Whether you go to dinner and you're not going to get it comped, show that receipt. You get tier credits for it. Everything possible, show your card so that you get those tier credits, because it's crazy how much it'll actually shoot up as long as you show your card and do everything.
Yeah, and I tell people to get the MasterCard too, and you get a lot of free play with that. You earn a lot of free play with it, as long as you can pay it off every month.
Right.
Because if you can't, then you're really paying out the butt. Yeah, then don't do it.
Then don't do it.
That's right, that's right. And when do your points start over?
January 1st.
Yep.
January 1st, 2024 is when everybody goes to zero and it all starts over again.
So we can make it. You know, we have goals and we can make it, and plan your trips accordingly.
And they did tell me that tier accelerator is continuing.
Oh, nice.
They're not stopping it.
Oh, that's exciting.
So as long as
tell
you're
us about the
earning-
tier accelerator.
So if you earn a certain amount of tier credits, so say you earn 5,000, I think the accelerator is 1,250. You earn 10,000 in one period, so it's like 12 a.m. to 11:59 in one day. If you get 10,000, they give you an extra bonus of 5,000. You go to 20,000, they match it. You go to 40,000, they actually up you, and you get 60,000 as an accelerator.
So how do they find out about this? They can look in their app.
Okay, so the app is not exactly
Showing that.
I feel like there's a lag in the app.
Okay.
Where what tier credits you're seeing as far as what's online isn't matching completely, because there's a
But I mean, how
lag.
do they see what how many you have to get this bonus?
So MGM Rewards, and we now have the program where we can see what you've earned through the day to see exactly what you need to earn in order to get that accelerator.
So like I go over to Caesars and I can swipe my card and it tells me this day, if you get this many points, you get this much, this many, you get this much.
Ours, you have to go to the MGM Rewards desk,
And they
or
can
you
tell
have to
you what
we
the
can
bonus
tell you
is.
exactly.
But you can write it down for me so I
You're
can
fine.
share it with our viewers?
Yes.
Like what those bonuses are, that would be great. Is it better to have, if you have a $3,000 bankroll, to split it up, or does it hurt to play it only 2 days, $1,500 each day?
I did see that question.
With the typo in it, I just saw.
So I don't know that it's so much a bankroll. It's just, like I said, hours played, time spent on a machine. Not so much like, okay, well, I have $1,500 to play right now, or $3,000 my whole trip. It's not more of that. It's more find a game you like, have fun, and play your heart out. Like it needs to be the hours, because once you have those hours is where we can comp. You go in, let's say you go to the roulette.
So I can go drop $5,000 in 30 minutes, or I can take and play for 10 hours on $1,000, and I'm going to get more benefit out of playing $2.50 bet over all this time.
Because, so even people do that at tables. Someone will walk up and be like, 10,000 on black. So off your win-loss, we can comp anywhere from 10 to 20%. Your Theo, which is the magic number of hours, we can comp 30 to 35%. So if you spent $5,000, dropped it in 30 minutes, we can give you $500, $1,000 maybe in comps. Whereas if you're playing and playing and playing, that number builds up. You may get 3-4 nights comped with 500 food and beverage. It just depends on what your hourly play was. It's not all about the loss, the win, everything else. It's more, like I said, hours played. They want you on those machines. They want you to play.
This is going to depend on brand. Every brand is going to be different. And even MGM in different cities and states, it's going to be different.
Right.
I want to be real clear about that, because I know it's different for other brands, and I know other MGM properties, it's not the same. Vegas is
Vegas is a little different.
Yeah.
A little different. You get your drinks comped while you're gambling, whereas if you go in other states,
you got to pay.
You got to pay and play.
Yeah, and play. They charge it to your room, it usually gets comped.
Yeah.
I had a host in another state tell me that if you have, I thought this was kind of a good analogy, if you have $700 to spend, it's better to take and spend it all on one day than divide it and do $100 on every day.
That might,
Not
depending
here.
on how, not here, it's more, like I said, time played on the machine.
Time played. I'm trying to figure every way around it, but it's time played.
It's time played.
It's time played.
Always going to be, that's our suggested.
And that's because the more
played.
time you play, the more opportunity you have to lose.
The more opportunity we have to comp you.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Okay, there you go.
I was trying to do the positive.
Right. That answers that question. I said going from a high denom $50 bet down to a $5 bet, that doesn't hurt you.
It's just like tables.
Yeah.
You go in and you throw $10,000 on roulette. Okay, I can comp you $1,000, maybe $2,000.
But I mean, if Mike and I are playing and we're doing mostly $50 bets, and then we're like, okay, let's just go have some downtime and do $1.20 or $2.50 a bet, $2.50. It doesn't matter. It's still the time played. So that's interesting to know.
The only thing with the bigger money is the bigger win if you do get that. Like you got your top dollar, $100 machines over there.
Of course, that's
that
right.
Can win you $100,000.
Right. That's right. We're waiting on that. Yeah, we're looking for that one. I said I'd get a tattoo when we hit 100,000. When we hit 100,000.
I'm ready. It's going to be this weekend.
Yeah, I hope so. If I get time to play,
I'll send you
I've
to my
been so
uncle.
busy
He
working.
tattoos in Peru. I'll take you.
There you go. That's a date. At MGM, a couple can play it on one account.
Yeah, you did ask.
Doesn't matter which card you play. I noticed that our slot dollars for Mike and I are separate.
So you each earn your own slot points. Your what used to be Express Comps, now MGM Rewards points go together. All your play goes together. The only difference with having two people on an account is there's always going to be a primary. Whoever plays bigger than the other one is always going to be the primary. So that's the person that gets your free play. That's the person that you had to book your promotions under. Although you or him could call.
Right.
And I would still give you your
name.
But
right.
Technically that promotion is just strictly under that person, regardless. But say you're coming in, you have your free play, and you guys both want to play at the same time. If you play on that same card, it won't let you play the free play because it thinks your card's locked up because you have two cards in the machine. So it's a privacy thing that nope, we're not letting you play. So that's the only issue. We do have our own place where I have a guest in town right now. The one gets all the free play. The other one's not super happy about it. As a host, we can void out that coupon and split the free play, and so everybody's good to go. They can all play.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. It all goes together. Your tier credits all add together. Everything pulls. The only thing that you do get to earn on your own is your slot dollars so that you can play your slot play.
Gifts for a host. I get asked this question all the time. And what is your best advice for if somebody wants to get a host a gift?
I will give you my exact answer that I tell everybody because they always ask.
It's got to be a good one because our viewers need to know.
Can I take care of you? What can I do? What do you drink? What can I give you? At the end of the day, I always tell them it's not necessary. It is not expected. However you feel you want to take care. I've had people come up and give me gift cards to their restaurant just because they want me to come out. I've had guests that have told me they're going to take me on a cruise with them, but they want me to spend time with them on that cruise. And I'm like,
no, I don't know about
now that I'm engaged, they all want me to go on my honeymoon on a cruise with them.
I don't think so.
At the end of the day, I always tell you, this is my job. This is honestly what I'm here for. I get taken care of by my company very, very well. So there is no right answer. Do people do it? Yes.
So what are some good gifts, fun gifts you've gotten?
I just got one today.
Okay.
One of my guests is actually a 49ers fan, and he knows I'm a huge Steelers fan. He knows my favorite player is the Boss, obviously retired. He brought me a one-of-a-kind only jersey that has Bettis and it's all black and grayed out, and just brought it right over to me. And he's like, I love you, thank you for everything you do. And I was just like, what is happening right now? One of my other guests last week, I just happened to be walking by a night store and I saw this gorgeous jacket, and when I went to go pay for it, he threw his credit card and he was like, yep, nope. Again, not expected, not in the least. I don't expect anything from anybody, but there's little things that go a very long way. Just like my guests that stay at Aria that I don't get to see very often, just walking over just to say hi. is a
big deal.
Just thank you to
Yeah.
me, because that is a long walk.
Yes.
Tram or not tram.
It is.
It's still a long walk.
It is.
And just to say hi and hang out. Plus, we have the best bartenders in the
You
world.
have the best bartenders in New York,
We
New
do.
York, for sure, for sure.
We have
I
the
know.
best high limit bartenders ever.
You do, yeah, on anywhere I've ever been, so that's for sure. But I say to people, somebody mentioned on our channel, bring stuff from your hometown
Oh, I have had
that's
that.
unique. Maybe that's a good one. I always say gift card, because they can y'all can figure out where you want to
I've
spend it if you
gotten-
can't think of anything. But get to know your host and what they
Yes.
like to drink and who their favorite sports teams are, and over time you'll learn that, and then you can learn special ways.
I got a
that make
picture
difference.
of me and my guest one time. They framed it.
Oh,
And it was just a silly picture we took, but they framed
That's
it and
fun.
said my favorite host.
There
and
you
I was
go.
Like,
It's a little
it's in
thing.
my desk, and they
you
saw
go.
my desk, and they were like, "You put it up." I go, "Yeah."
yeah, it's the little things,
It's the
right? It
little
does.
things.
So, big question: how do you make it to New Orleans? How do you get invited? It's hard.
It's rough. You have to earn $2 million to your credits a year. Otherwise, there's certain criteria they look for, but to be quite honest, a lot of it is just hitting that criteria, and then you're invited. And we don't even get to put out that invites. Like, we can set an email to our bosses and say,
But
hey,
you have to hit 2
but
million.
you have to. You have to be
Okay.
close to it, or have a certain amount of play each trip in order for them to even consider
So
it.
I say that's a holy moly bajoli. That's my thing. Yeah, it's that's crazy. Okay, don't think we'll be hitting Nor, but maybe
I'll still take care of you
maybe one
regardless.
day. Yeah, that maybe one day. Players card on cruises. Even if you earn a cruise from MGM, how does the players card work on a cruise?
So we haven't had a lot of experience with cruises, because once you earn that cruise for platinum, it basically goes straight to the company.
Right,
We
that's
don't have
right.
anything else to deal with it. I know they do some sort of gambling, and we do have a partnership with them, but we kind of stay out of it as
So
far
our
as what
players
they
card
do.
don't work there though. I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
I
they
think
don't.
it's more along the lines they have their own. You get it because we're partnered in.
Right.
So as long as you've partnered in and you've earned that platinum, you've earned the gold, then you get your free cruise. They always have the additional cruise in August to kind of give you that. And those are actually really nice. When I've seen, you can pick between Royal or Celebrity.
You know what is that for those that don't know?
The Royal Caribbean Cruise or the Celebrity, they have a event, and it's usually in August. It's the first and second weekend, and you come out, and there's someone here from both cruise lines, and there's an extra certificate. So it's actually an extra cruise on top of your platinum and noir, and then they let you pick what place you want to go. And then they'll let you see like what room type you have. So whether it's a balcony, whether it's not, or
Oh,
whatever
fun.
you can do. It's a 3-day, it's a 5-day, and they let you go through all of those, and then you take that certificate and you call and you book your cruise. So that's an extra bonus
Very
that
cool.
Royal Caribbean and Celebrity has been very generous with us to do.
Very,
so that's
very cool.
been awesome. But as far as the cards working, we don't have the same gambling system as them.
Okay. Okay, so I do have another question that wasn't on my list that I sent you over. It's easy. So a lot of people want to come to concerts or to shows in Vegas. And I know that it's easier to get some shows comped than it is others, maybe a concert
Yes.
for a headliner or something like that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
So it's easier for us to comp like all our circ shows or the comedy shows that we have under our belt and we own. We own the spot. Whereas like NFR, Cody Johnson, or Old Dominion, which that was an MGM concert, but any of those big name concerts, we don't run them. So when people ask me, well, can I charge it to my room and you can comp it later?
No.
No, they set up the space, they run it. We just happen to have it where if you have the play, we can comp the tickets. If you don't, there's no
don't.
way to comp it. We used to be able to do the express comps towards some of them, like the Park MGM ones, but
Not anymore.
No, we've gotten away with all of that. So anything that you're going to do as far as shows, it's going to be more borderline of Cirque du Soleil or Brad Garrett, Carrot Top, any of the ones that are built in that we have every day of the week.
So if you get lucky, you might get a concert here or there, but not very often. Okay. One more thing, I usually stress to people, because y'all go by Theo a lot, and I know that's the primary way. It's hard for us because we don't have access to that unless we ask our host, and I'm still trying to understand and wrap my mind around Theo. So I usually use it as a gauge when I come to play that I need to at least get 1,000 tier credits a day. 3,000, I know I've done a pretty decent job. So if people aim for that, is that like you're going to get a free room and you're probably going to get some free play and some free food?
Yep.
Is that pretty good?
That's a good judge of character.
Okay, good.
On that, I know one of my guests actually has the Theo down to a T, and I asked him, I was like, how do you figure this out when I don't know the mathematics? He goes, take your tier credits that you earned that day, 12% of it is your Theo. And I go, you're kidding. And I typed it in, he was absolutely right.
Okay, we're going to try that out. The tier credits that you earn in a day,
12%.
12% of that.
You might be off by like $100.
Okay, and what are you shooting for a Theo? Tell us about that.
They want it to be, at least for New York, it's usually $1,500 a day because that's what covers your room comp.
Okay.
Anything additional is where you're going to get the extra food, more free play, everything else. That's what they're looking for as far as that. I had no idea what he was talking about until I plugged it in, and I was like, he's actually right. I didn't even know there was an actual mathematics thing because I couldn't believe that he could come up, sit down at my desk and say, no, I should be here at Theo. And I would look and I'm like, how'd you do that? What happened? So he finally gave me the mathematic of 12% of your...
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's going to be different over at Bellagio or
for
Aria.
Room comps.
For room comps, okay.
Because here it's about $1,500 a day. Over there it's probably about $2,500 because their room comp.
And if you get a suite here or there, then it adds up even higher.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay.
And especially on weekends like New Year's Eve.
Right.
They hike that up. Super Bowl, F1.
So you may get a room comped, but you may not get a lot of other things
especially the weekend that you're
that trip. Is that right? Unless you play a lot, they still not going to get a lot.
Well, even F1 that weekend, our comp rates went skyrocket. So even though a regular room might be $180 a night, it was like $500 a night. Because you look at...
So those guests weren't going to get nearly as much food credit comped and all of that. Okay. And y'all had some big events in Vegas. My son was saying...
And they keep coming.
Yes. I know. That's why we hadn't been able to connect. It was like it was
NFR.
Yeah.
Everything just piles in.
Yeah, and then you try to take a vacation. Imagine that, right?
No, I can't do that.
Okay, so I think we're done. Do you have any tips? I have one more thing I want to ask you about, but before I ask you this, do you have any tips or any other things you can think of?
Always play on your card. I have people constantly tell me, well, the card is bad luck. I'm not winning, but when I pull my card out, I start winning. Then be prepared to pay for everything.
For everything, right.
Or put your card in so I can help comp everything.
That's right. But that is a myth.
It is a myth.
It does not affect.
We're not tracking you
separate.
Oh, you won too much, now we're going to cut it off.
Yeah, no, they don't do that. Okay.
And I know there's a big question out there with the Cosmo.
Yes. We want a Cosmo update. We're so excited.
I know, and I am too. They're trying to work with us as best as possible and trying to change their program to ours and intermix. They don't want anybody to feel like they're losing out if they play at Cosmo and not here, other way around. So we have heard after Super Bowl, February, we should be able to book Cosmo. You can already charge your food and beverage to...
Oh, I didn't know that.
You can charge it to Bellagio, you can charge it to Aria.
I did not know that, okay.
You can charge your food and beverage from Cosmo over to us.
Nice, okay.
And we can comp it now. Just don't go to Nusret because we can't comp that.
Okay.
But everything else, as far as Cosmo, we can do that. They will let us book certain rooms, but it has to be an exceptional reason. But as of February, after Super Bowl, after everything goes, and hopefully without a hitch, then we'll be fine and we can book.
Okay.
And everything will be great.
and they're building the bridge over, right?
They already did it.
Oh, they did.
It's open.
It's there. It's open.
It's open.
Oh, we're gonna have to check that out, Mike. We
They
have
even
time.
have Vidara when you walk in. This way goes to Bellagio and this way goes to Cosmo, and they have 2 different architectures that go through.
Oh,
to walk
nice.
through.
We'll have to do that. We ran out of time to walk over today, so we'll have to do that tomorrow. And then we've never played at Cosmo because I'm so married to my properties, my brands, but I love to go to the Chandelier Bar there.
Right.
So I'm really excited. I love the vibe. I love and they have balconies.
They do.
They have balconies.
I
And if
know.
you're a smoker,
Everybody was crazy with
I
F1
know.
because they could look out the balcony and see the race.
everything. Yeah.
Or New Year's Eve where you can see all the fireworks.
Yeah, that's going to be a hot one. Well, I appreciate you. I hope y'all have enjoyed this interview. Hope we answered some of your questions. If you have more questions, type them in the comments, and I'll try to get them answered, and we'll answer them on a live or when we see Tara next, okay? All right, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.